Hello, I'm having a bit of technical problems already. Happy New Year, everybody. Just see if I can hear.
Hello.
There we go. Why is this not in?
Problems already.
Okay. For some reason, my headphones are not connecting to my computer so I can listen to myself at the same time. So just bear with me. It says connected mic. I don't want connected mic. I want connect all of it. Okay, I'm gonna go on without the sound because for some reason this isn't working. Just send me a message if you can't hear me in the stream through the comment section and I will fix that. So I'll just have to play it as is. Okay. Hi, I am Charity Low. I am one of the Vinci Eye App's most, biggest fan, one of the biggest fans. I did not create the app. I am just an artist that really likes it and currently is working with them. If you want to try the app for free for a year, there is a promo code in the description for the iOS. And if you have Android, just send me an email at charitylowsartdve@outlook.com and I will give you your own personal one-time use promo code so you can try it for free for a year. It is a great time to do that because then you get free lessons and a free trial for a year so you can get a good jump start into using the app. You should also join the Facebook group. I sometimes do some fun little activities there. We do competitions for cash prizes, and we also do challenges for a variety of different skilled artists so that everybody gets a chance to win. So join that, and also you get to become friends with other people who also use the app and post your work and get feedback from other people. It's really nice. It's a nice community. So let's jump in. First, I'm going to show you a little bit about the app. So what we're using is AR mode. Wait, is that Raven? Oh, you can't hear me. Why can't you hear me? Why isn't this working?
Why can't you hear me?
Why isn't this working? Can you hear me now? It says that it's working. Let me just... You know what? I'm going to try something else. Not another headset here. I'll just go on to another streaming service. Another app. Or another thing. If that makes any sense. So I'm going to go out and watch it on my phone instead. Well, I can hear myself in the live. Is it fixed now or is it still having issues? Okay. Anyways, so the app can use augmented reality. Well, it uses augmented reality, but it can track a image like a scribbly or this you can print off and it'll be preset into the app. So if you move your phone, the image will stay locked in place, or even if you move your drawing surface. You can have it angled if you'd like. It will automatically adjust to the angle, whatever makes it easier for you to see and feels more comfortable for you to draw at. So here you see how it tracks. You can go angled this way or angled that way. It will not warp the image as long as it is taped parallel to the drawing surface. So either on a clipboard like what I have, or a table, or directly onto a canvas. I've also made fabric anchors. I've made fabric anchors so I can paint on stuff, and then I just pinned it on there. So let me just show you on here too. So also, the app will automatically save your projects. So what it's gonna look like. Just if you go into projects and just scroll down, you'll be able to pick out the one that you're working on, and it will just automatically realign for you. Some other things that I want to show you is where you can find the reference image that we're working on. So if you go to the three purple lines on the left top corner, you can search a profile and then search charitylowsart. And go into the little light bulb, and then you just, I've made a bunch of stuff over the holidays, but if you just scroll down, you'll be able to find the image. You click on the image, click on the little picture item, and then draw this, and then you should be able to get that started. If you don't have an iOS version or the newest version of Android, which I think is not out quite yet, but it is in testing, you can find it on the Facebook groups, Vinci Eye App's Facebook group, in the featured posts. You can download it from there, or you can also find it on my personal Facebook page, which is charitylowsart. You can download it and then use that as well. Just going back. So a few other things is we have like a photo of the day that you can draw from. And there are some learning things that you can do, step by step how to draw. Just some fun little things. It will go one step at a time, what to do first and next, whatever. Just kind of like a how to draw page that you get from like a kid's book from, you know what I'm talking about. Feed, there is the featured drawings that are on here. You can just see the star is featured. The two people are your friends, and then there's the world. So whoever you're following, you get to see with the two people. And then you have unlimited references that you can use. The ones that are stars, they're all royalty free, so you can go ahead and use them for whatever projects you want and sell them later if you'd like. But you can't really be sure about the world ones. So just across the world, you can't be sure about that one. So just letting you know, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's go back into our projects. And we're gonna continue on the drawing we've been working on quite a while ago. It's for a while. I did take like a really long break for Christmas season. I'm just gonna lock focus. So I'm gonna go through all the features that I like to use while making photorealistic portraits. I'm just gonna cover this right now. The first thing I like to do is go into Tools. Tools, go to Breakdown Mode, and then set it to 5 steps, cut out off, so it's not purple, it's just gray. And the exposure the exposure to the center. And then it will give you step-by-step shade building, so it's good for practicing your shading. Stencils, so you just fill in all of the colored areas. I like to start with my lightest pencil and then work my way down, getting darker and darker as I go. So that's the first step, and that's what you get from this section right here. This is what it turns into. Afterwards, I like to find my brightest brights and my darkest darks so I can make sure I have a nice contrast at the end, making it more realistic. And I think that after I've done doing that, and this works really well with graphite because it's you can work with it. And that breakdown mode's also really good for building up watercolors as well. So we can go into strobe, turn on the strobe, and then turn up the opacity to the fullest. This will give you a good comparison between your drawing and the reference. So you can change it, kind of like playing spot the difference, but changing it as you go to, yeah. You can zoom in and everything will stay in place as long as the move button is black. If you have it on purple, you won't be able to do that. You can play around with, when you have the move button on, you can play around with the layout before you even start. Lots of fun stuff. There's so much more. There's so much more, but I could spend all day doing that. Okay, now let's go through the materials we're going to use for this graphite drawing. I like to have 4 drawing pencils. I use an H2, an HB, a 6B, and a 14B. Your pencils that you will have are going to be different according to your pencil set. So just to show you how to pick out your pencils. So you get a brand new drawing set. Open it up. And have them organized from 4H, 3H, 2H, HB, and then B1, B2, B3, all the way through. So what you're going to want to pick is you're going to want to pick the H with the biggest number. So this one's 4H. And then an HB, the center one. Your darkest pencil, 8B for this set. And then the one that's right in the center between the HB and the 8B. So it would be a 4B. And that's how you choose your pencils. So that's it. Just simple like that. And then after, like, buy a set, and then after you bought a set, well, honestly, I would prefer to just buy the pencils as you need them individually, because then you have like a whole bunch of pencils you don't use. Okay, I also like to use a mechanical pencil. A mechanical pencil. Oh, why is my one camera kind of for fine details? Nice hard lead and a small. Yeah, so this is great for like wispy hairs and stuff. For erasers, that sun's coming around, so just give me a second. Just got dark in here, I'm sorry. Okay. Erasers. A really cool eraser that I like to use is a mechanical eraser. I mean, not a electric eraser, which spins super fast. You can get some really nice, clean, sharp lines or dots with it. I like to use a mechanical eraser. This one's a Mono 0. And a knead eraser. This is good for softer lines or very like transitioning shades and stuff. For blending, a small blending stump and a larger blending stump and toilet paper or tissue paper, whatever you have, nice and soft. Don't use your hands, but it's really good for big areas like skin. And I think that's it. Make sure you have a nice pencil sharpener. Hello. Yeah, nice. I got a pencil sharpener that does nice elongated sharp, so that it has a really nice sharp point for the pencils. It's really good for blending and details at the same time. Some other tools. I think that's all that we need. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna just turn on auto director here so that we can cycle through without me thinking. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, since you can see that I've already done the details in some areas, we're gonna zoom in to approximately where we left off. It's kind of hard to tell where I left off. Looks like about there is where we were. Zoom in, you can zoom in really close or you can zoom out. It is honestly your decision. Thank you. I moved. It was our Christmas present to get a house, and I'm so happy about it. Okay, so I'm just doing lines that are going in the direction of the hair. Try to make them curved if the hair is curved, but we're not zigzagging like that. We are just doing one line at a time, picking up and putting down. It doesn't matter which direction you go. Just make sure you're not zigzagging back and forth when you're doing that. Looks like I missed some. I just started drawing. And honestly, I think some of the videos last time got cut out because I was trying so hard to get the live streaming to my personal Facebook page as well as the YouTube. So, yeah, I need to figure that out on my own time, trying to get that going. And then also, I've been away pretty much all of December because there was just so much going on. You know what else is a very helpful thing to do? Is to print off, if you have a good printer, to print off a copy of your reference photo so you can actually see. Sorry. So you can see the entire picture and also have it zoomed in on the app at the same time, so you get a better sense of what needs to be done. So I do have a printed off copy. Like it looks like there's some hairs coming from the scalp right here that are going upwards. And I'm going to take the small blending stump. I'm going to just kind of blend in those little hairs that are coming from the scalp into it. Okay, now I'm going to work a little bit on the shadowing underneath that hairline, doing some circular motions, just trying to build it up to try to match that shade as best as possible. And then I'm going to take the toilet paper I have and just blend in circular motions, blending it downwards. I am using a softer pencil for that section that I just did. I think I still, like if I'm looking at it, you can kind of see it's a little lighter still where my drawing's at. So I'm gonna still work on building that up a bit more. So I'm using my softest pencil. This one's a 14B matte, but most people will have an 8B. We can see from different views, that's nice. I did get some new stands, but I've always had the same amount of cameras. But I do like how a lot of the stands that I got, the new stands, are not on my table, or at least not freestanding on my table. I have one that's connected to the ceiling, and then one that's clamped onto the table. So it's really, I really like this. Still needs to get darker for, it's been a while since I worked on this, so I need to figure out what I did. Because before, for the darkest darks, I used like a black watercolor pencil, but I'm trying to get away from that. So I'm just trying to figure out what I used to get those really dark areas. And I think I just used the 14B and just pushed quite a bit harder. So I'm going to do that in some of the areas in that hair because it's not dark enough. You want to get really dark areas so you have a nice contrast for your drawing to make it realistic. So don't hesitate. like build up slowly, but don't feel nervous about putting that really dark pencil down. It's really good for the realistic. Okay, so I'm going to take the blending stump, the small one, and I am just blending off the edges of it so that it kind of melts into the other strokes so that it looks cohesive, like it looks like it's a continuous strand throughout. I'm just going to try to get some of that shadow to kind of, or the shade, just blending it down, trying to create the shape of the forehead here. Just focusing on the very minor differences between the shades. Sometimes I'm looking at the, sometimes I'm looking at the app and sometimes I'm looking at my reference. Because if that makes any sense. Sometimes I'm looking at the printed piece, sometimes I'm looking at the digital, just to make sure I can get all the details right. I am a perfectionist, so I like to try to get it as close to the original as possible. But when it comes to like texture and hair, as long as you got the basic shapes from the shadows and the highlights and like the actual shapes of the hair, like buns and whatever and braids, it'll look perfectly fine. It will. Okay, I am going to be using an HB pencil and trying to define the foreheads between the two people. So it's a very tricky thing to do, because lines don't really exist in the real world. It is only an illusion of a shadow and a highlight hitting each other. So if you look at the reference photo, you can't really see where her forehead ends and where hers begins, because there's not any contrast between the shadows and highlights. Looking at this reference, I can kind of see a highlight, a very minor highlight that may be separating the two. But it's really hard to see on camera, that's for sure. I'm just going to add ever so slightly some shadows. Just a little bit more graphite on top of there. Just very, very little. So I'm doing light pressure and circular motions. The circular motions helps with nice, smooth textures and easy blending. How do you know when to use the blending stump? That is a good question. So the blending stump I use for like more detailed work. So like the hair and stuff, just kind of blend in the end of the stroke of the paper. Here. So we do a stroke here, and then we just kind of drag it to blend it out, or go over it to soften it up. So that's when I use the blending stumps, or for like the smaller details. I would also do that for like the creases on the eyelid, the details on the lips. They're for smaller details, but if you want to blend for bigger pieces, then I would use the toilet paper. If there's something that's kind of in between, like the section of the eyelid area, I would use a bigger blending stump for that. I don't know, does that help at all? So place it down, want it to look smooth or more cohesive looking, then I blend. I'm just going to take the toilet paper here and I'm blending in circular motions. And because this is a bigger area, that's why I'm using the toilet paper, not the blending stump. Because the blending stump's good for just line work. Still going to go back with the HB pencil. And just slowly building up those shadows. There's just a very small difference between what's already on there and what needs to be on there. So, gotta practice training your eye just to make it look realistic. Just train your eye, look at printed copy, the digital copy, and then we're going to blend it using the toilet paper, and I'm just pushing it downwards, just down into it. And do circular motions as well. And I'm going to take the mono eraser. Just kind of get that very minor highlight of the forehead of the little girl. Just lightly pressing with the mono eraser. And then also some of that hair strands that are gone wild. Can get some of those as well with the mono eraser or the electric eraser. And then I'm going to take the knead eraser, kneadable, and just kind of drag from that line where the forehead is, or just even dab in and pick up to define that little highlight that's on the forehead that does separate one forehead from the other. I'm just trying to figure out what I've done and what I haven't done. I think we can actually zoom out to see more. I think I zoomed in too far. That actually makes it easier to see more in what we've done and what we haven't done. Okay, I'm gonna build up more shadow on the little girl's head. I have trouble adding the details, but I'm okay at the layers. So as long as you practice how to create texture, like say if we were doing a hyper-realistic portrait, there are just simple, believe it or not, it's a lot simpler than you think it is. It is understanding what creates the texture and then just doing, I don't know how to explain it. You're not actually tracing every single pore. What do you think you're doing? Get out of here. I got a runaway child. Paper? I'll give you some paper. Do you want something to... There, got a lot of paper. Now where are you going? Okay, go. I'm gonna lock the door. What? Crayons? You got a brown crayon? Okay, you gotta go. I'm in the middle of the live. Okay. And I'm trying to keep you covered because you're just wearing underwear. I'm locking the door. Fun surprise. Okay. Remember to lock the door when you're doing a live video. So we're talking about texture. So I find details are just abstract. It's not about getting the exact thing. As long as you can mimic it, then just have fun with it. So practice skin texture if you want, practice hair texture, and then you just use that as an abstract to make it more detailed, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I love my little girl. She's adorable. But just barges in unannounced. She's only 2. Okay, so I'm going to start building up the shadows because it needs to be a bit darker. I don't think I'm going to use the darkest pencil I have, but maybe the second darkest pencil. Just doing some circular motions. You wanna know something else about pencils. The softer the pencil, the easier it is to blend. The further it will blend. So, yeah. If you're using an H pencil and then try to blend it, it'll be harder to do that. Just some circular motions, light pressure, and just slowly building it up to try to match that shade of gray. And then also do some even lighter circular motions around that so that it has a nice transition shade between them, because this is very soft. This is not very, the change of the shades are very soft and subtle. And then we can take the toilet paper, because this is a larger space, doing circular motions. I'm going to start with the darkest area and then just push it up into the lighter areas. And I think that's pretty good with the forehead, maybe. I'm just taking a look. Things that you don't see on the screen is that I have a TV that I'm streaming to, and that's why I'm not looking over. That's why I'm not looking over to my phone. I'm actually looking at it because my TV's there. So, yeah. Get a smart TV or Chromecaster, and it will actually let you draw even larger pieces that way. And there's very small amount of delay. Like, you don't even realize it after a while. Like, it's not a big deal if there's a little bit of a delay. But it's also like, what is your internet connection like too? So if you have slow internet, it might be a little bit laggy if you're streaming to your TV. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I can't have you in here. Just play with it until you get it where you want it to be. So I'm going to take the knead eraser and just dab and like press in there like you're stamping it and then picking it up. It won't pick up all of it. It will just pick up a little bit, just enough. And if it's starting to not pick up as much as you'd like it to, play around with the knead eraser, make it sticky again, and then do that. And then blend it out again. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of detail in the hair. So I'm going to take the medium pencil, the HB. I'm just starting with the shapes of the shadows. Also kind of doing some smaller strokes, doing that just so that we get the texture of the hair too while we're at it. Just building that up. How was everybody's holidays? And I say holidays in a general term. If it's Merry Christmas to you, it's Merry Christmas to you. And Hanukkah for you, if it's Hanukkah for you. Or just New Year's. There's a lot of holidays in December. Yeah, tell me about your holidays. How do you know which pencil grade to use when adding details and texture? So if it needs to be a softer edges for the details, so like freckles, for example, I would use a softer pencil, which would be a B pencil, so you can blend it a bit to make it more realistic. But if you're doing things that have like a sharper edge around it, like hair, for example, then I'd use a harder pencil, so an H pencil, so that'd be like 4 or 2, or whatever you have. And what I usually like to do is I'd like to get the softer edges of the details done first, and then add the sharper edges later. And take that blending stump and just soften those up. I'm blending in the direction of the hair. I'm just trying to soften up the edges. That's all I'm trying to do. And then, now that we've got that done, I'm just going to focus more on what I see on the reference photo than I do in there. Actually, I think I might be able to find the original colored one, because sometimes that helps. Yeah, sometimes some details disappear when going into black and white, but it doesn't look like much details have left. It's just because, like, there was one time I was doing a black and white drawing with a guy with a mustache. In color it was obvious because it was 2 different colors from the skin and the mustache, but it was the same shade, so it completely disappeared in black and white. So you gotta be aware of that. But it looks like the details are about the same. I'm going to take the mono eraser, and I like to go with the mono eraser first. The end of it is quite dirty. I'm going to take some scissors and cut it at an angle to get rid of the dirt and also to give a sharper edge to it so you can get even finer lines with it. So I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? There's a bit of an angle right here. So I'm just gonna go over to get some of those highlighted hairs and some of the details. Some of those crazy little flyaways while you're at it too. The ones that don't like to go with the flow of the other hair. Okay, I need to do something. I need to have a little bit more strength in getting some of this hair that's overlapping the mom's hair. So I'm gonna what I like to do to clean my electric eraser is just rub it up against either a blank piece of paper, or I'm just rubbing it against my clipboard at an angle, so you also get that nice sharp edge. So we need to just put it on the side, not straight up. So gotta do nice and swift lines. If you do it too slow, it will be too wiggly. Gotta do it nice and fast. Now, I'd like to finish it off with a mechanical pencil, and I hope to get a actual decent one of these days. So when you're getting a mechanical pencil, you can get different leads for them. I don't know where, here they are. And you want to get the hardest lead you can get, so H with the largest number you can get, and make sure it's a lead that will actually fit the pencil you have, or get a new pencil. Now we're going to catch some of those flyaways. We're not too worried about the exact placement of them. And then even if they break into two lines from just the pencil skipping a bit, that's fine too, because then it's just showing, like, it kind of gives the illusion of it being focused in one area and then blurred in another, because the hair is not on a flat surface. It's coming from different from the back and the front and stuff, if that makes any sense. Or the lighting in the background can also make hair disappear a bit too. You can go over some of the highlighted areas just to give it a little bit more texture, make it look more like hair. But don't overdo it, just a little bit. You can, because like if you look at the reference photo, you'll see that there are some softer, blurrier hair. You can take the small blending stump. A little trick for cleaning blending stumps. You know, this has multiple uses. You can make graphite powder, which is really good for smooth shading, or you can just rub your blending stump at an angle and just twist it around to clean it off. And then I'm gonna take a few of those little ends and just kind of blend it in a bit, just the ends of the hair. Maybe some completely blended, but not a lot. You can also just create more hairs that are soft and blurred out with whatever's on the blending stump already. So just give it more depth. Now I'm going to move into the next section. We get some really fun texture details on her little, I think it's her headband, I'm not sure. We are not going to worry about that right now for the details on that. I might actually end up zooming into that later, but we'll get the hair and the forehead done for the shadowing. I'm going to start with the forehead using a softer pencil. I think I might start off with the softest pencil I have and do circular motions and light pressure. And I'm just doing this in the really, really dark areas. Even where the hair is. I'm going to do it right where the hair is too. We can always add layers to it to make it look like hair. Just want to build up that contrast of dark and light. Get it nice and, yeah. My art teacher from high school says the best way to get a nice, realistic portrait is to have black and white, and at least 3 shades of gray in between. But you definitely need black and white. I'll show you what it looks like when you don't get a nice contrast from one of the drawings I did. I'm just going to move things around a bit to get to it. When I'm doing like the advertisement videos, I don't really put a lot of effort into it, so I can show you one of the ones that I did. Real quick. It was a real quick piece. It looks very washed out. There's no detail to it. Well, there is, but it's so light that you can't really see it. So you want to try to avoid having like the shades so close to each other and very light. I'm going to take the next softest pencil I have, which is a 6B. Yours would probably be a 4B, because that's the most common to have with the pencil sets. So I'm going to do circular motions, just building that up a bit, and then trying to blend it into the last section we have as well, so it's not blotchy. Just doing the very basic shapes. Like if I notice that there's a section of hair that's like a big section of hair that's quite a bit lighter than what I'm working on, I will just leave those areas alone. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to blend that in, and I'm going to start from the darkest areas and blend it into the lighter areas. Circular motions using the toilet paper. So it reaches the halfway mark. So we are going to take a quick 5-minute break. We can come back, we can do a little bit of a Q&A or just chat. I might tell you a story of a time of my previous jobs. I might, we'll see. So I'll see you in a bit. You know what? I just realized there was no sound. Can you hear me now? Okay, just give me a second. I need somebody to do the technical stuff when doing these lives. I am not good at multitasking. Anyways, now is a good time to ask some questions, especially about the app itself. If not, I'm just going to ramble on and sound like a crazy person that I am. So, yeah. So some things I'll mention is if you don't have the app and you would like to try the app for free for a year, there is a promo code in the description for those who use the iOS. If not, please email me at charitylowsartdve@outlook.com for a Android promo code. The promo codes are one-time use only, and that's why you need to contact me so you can get your own personal code. I recommend joining the Facebook group. You can connect with other artists that use the app. I also do some fun activities on there. So like art competitions for cash prizes, art challenges for cash prizes. Just it's a fun place to be. Grace says hi. Hi, Grace. Hi, Gracie. What else? I think that's it. I kind of want to just tell you, like, I kind of want to do this little thing about like a story of a previous job that I've had, but I don't know how many good stories that I have that are positive or just fun to be. But we'll see how many I can do. There's one that I found really fun. It was a very interesting experience for sure. So before I became a full-time artist / teacher / social media manager, I was a healthcare aide, and I worked in the dementia unit. And there was one lady who we were all set up at the dinner table ready to eat, and she's like, I'm gonna give birth. And she starts screaming. She's like, I'm gonna give birth right now. So I wheel her to her room, lay her on the bed. I don't unclothe her or anything. She's still wearing her pants and stuff. I put a towel, like a sheet over her legs, like as if she's ready to give birth. And I go behind, and this lady's got a ton of baby dolls and dolls in her room. So I like sneakily grabbed one. And I'm like, okay, you gotta push. 1, 2, 3, push. Okay, try it again. And then I pull out the little baby doll and I give it to her. She starts bawling. She's like, oh, she's so beautiful. And then she's like, I'm having twins. And I'm like, oh, darn it, I only grabbed one doll. It was funny. And I that was like one of the highlights of being a healthcare aide with in a dementia unit. So it's one thing you learned is you do not try to bring them back to reality. You play along with them, and you do it in a way that is pushing them into a healthy state of mind, because sometimes they're in a really dark place and they're thinking bad things are happening. You gotta try to twist it to make it into a better state of mind when they're in the mode of this unrealistic thing happening in their head. But anyways, so I guess we can go back to the drawing. I just really wanted to share that because it was just something I remembered. I thought it was fun. Okay, now that we're back, I'm just going to add my graphics back on here. So we're building up the basic shapes of the shadows and highlights. That's what we're doing. And I think I still need to get darker. So just some circular motions. We're doing fairly light pressure. Actually, I'm doing more medium pressure right now because I really want to work on getting that nice and dark. Just circular motions, and we're just slowly building up, just nice and slow. And then trying to just preserve some of the shapes from the highlights, not just doing the entire area with that dark layer of graphite. But we are going to build on it a bit more as we go, making it look more realistic. I'm just doing some lighter pressure as like a transition shade in those areas. Oh, did I remember to lock the door? I don't know if I did. Let's just take a look. Yeah, I locked the door. Okay, nice space. I like the spice. I think I am ready to blend again. So still using the toilet paper. Okay, now that I think we got the basics of it down, now we can start building up detail. I'm still going to use my darker pencils. We're gonna go in the direction of the hair for this. We don't have to don't do lines all the way from the top of the head all the way down to the bottom. We just need to do some smaller strokes of hair, because even the hair transitions between light to dark throughout, and also hair likes to hide underneath others. It'll go from being on top to underneath by the time it gets to the bottom. So we don't need to do strokes all the way down. We just need to do it part way down. And then once we get some details going, we can also just blend the edges of it out, following the direction of the hair to make it start looking like it is long hair, not short hair. I need to find a better lighting system for my face. Because on the screen, at least my computer screen, it looks really dark. I'm just adding a few little hairs that are dark in the lighter areas. We're just gonna keep adding layers to it. Just add some dark hairs, blend it out. Add some light hairs, blend it out. And over and over and over again until you get the right until you get it to look like hair and nice amount of hair. Just build it up. You're drawing with both the pencil and the eraser. I'm gonna take the blending stump and I'm going to go in the direction of the hair, sometimes directly on the pencil marks, sometimes not quite. And then I'm going to take the mono eraser and I'm going to add those highlighted hairs. Also, if the hair has a slight curve to it, try to create that curve as well. There's a little bit of a, it's a bit of a exercise to do so. Like you need to practice being able to add that curve with those strokes. So if you do it straight hair and then the hair starts overlapping, like crisscrossing each other, it doesn't look realistic. So you just got to practice trying to create that curve and try to make it so it seamlessly blends into the rest of it. I got a message from a viewer. Why aren't, no, well, I guess you're taking pictures. Hey, you're distracting me from my work. Why aren't you talking to me on YouTube? Okay, now we're gonna build up some more and then, well, I'm gonna blend this out a bit, blend out the hair. I'm only going to be doing like the ends of the hair for this to kind of soften them up a bit. I'm not going to go over all of it. And then we're going to continue to build and build and build. Just repeat, 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 repeat. Then I'm going to go with a harder pencil, but still on the soft side, which is a 6B. You can zoom in if you want to get more accurate. Details, but all you need to really worry about is the basic shapes of the hair, the direction that the hair is going. Yeah, those are the only real things you need to worry about. I did do a live video, which is posted, of just different types of hair. So if you want to look into that, if you need to practice doing hair, I recommend you to watch that video if you need to practice. It's a very nice cabin. Hey! You gonna lurk around for a bit? It's been a while. Debbie is she does cards. She makes her own cards, and she also gives away cards as she's doing her live videos. I met her at a trade show for art supplies at Seattle last spring. I do not know how to do a shout out, but if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and follow her. I don't have a ton of people watching like Debbie does. I don't know if I will be in St. Louis this time around. I really hope so, but that is up to Sam and Trissa. So they tell me where to go, and I go. As long as there's nothing going on in my personal life. But we'll see. Smash the like. Thank you. I moved. I got a new place. This is my personal home. It's mine. I'm not renting anymore. So I got a ton of space in this new art space of mine. I'm just using the Mono eraser to kind of pick up those highlighted hairs. Just still kind of building it up until I'm satisfied. We moved a week before Christmas, so this was the Christmas present for me and my husband. Kids still got Christmas presents. Some stuff that works really, like, can be used in this house in comparison to the other house, where the house was so small we wouldn't be able to get these kinds of gifts for them. Okay, I'm gonna zoom into the detail of the little, it looks like a headband, but I don't see the whole picture, so I could be wrong. So I'm gonna zoom into that, and then, yeah. I'm gonna take the darkest pencil I have. This has got some really dark areas, so we can put quite a bit of pressure on this in some areas. So I'm going to start off with the really dark areas and then build, like, slowly get lighter and lighter. Usually I work my way to getting darker, but I can obviously see these almost black areas, so I kind of want to get those in first. And then with lighter pressure, I'm going to get those next darker areas. I don't know if I made sense there, but whatever. I'm just doing tiny circular motions. The details on here are fairly sharp. There's not a lot of gradients. Like, we don't need to blend it in to the next, like, we don't need to blend in the gray or black into the whiter areas. Just leave them alone. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blending stump, and I'm just going to start with the dark areas and just stay in. I'm going to stay in those areas that I put the dark area, like the dark pieces on. Clean it off a little bit, then do the medium. Just the purpose of using the blending stump for this is not necessarily to get transitions between the shades. It is just kind of make it more solid and not being able to see the pencil marks. I'm going to slightly go over it with the toilet paper, very brightly, like brightly, very lightly, so I can dull the white areas a bit. I still want to keep it fairly and then get those really bright areas back up. It's like the spots that are super bright, not doing the whole thing. There's just a few areas that just seemed a little extra highlighted in those highlighted areas. Sorry, I'm still laughing at myself. Then we can move on to the next part of it. And again, we're going to start off with the really dark areas and then get lighter and lighter as we go. I'm going to add that really dark section on the hair too. Since I'm here, might as well. Next thing I need to do to this house is make this room a bit more soundproof. He is crying because he was too slow to say hi to the garbage man. Okay, now I'm still going to use the softest pencil I have, which is the darkest pencil I have. And I'm going to do those other pieces, the dark gray areas. Just taking my time. That's all I'm doing. Sorry I'm going silent. I can't talk and listen to what's going on at the same time. Feel free to chat with me in the comments. I am here to entertain you as best as I can and also teach you. Just taking my time, getting all those details in. And then, since I'm here, I might as well darken up this section right here with the hair and going in the direction of where the hair is going. And then we're going to blend it. I'm going to start, I'm not really blending it outwards, I'm just kind of blending it in a way that just makes it look more solid, no pencil marks. And then same with the dark gray areas. So I'm not pushing it or trying to blend into the white areas or the light areas. I am going to very lightly go over the entire thing just to kind of very barely make it gray in those white areas, just kind of tapping it. And then I'm going to go over it again in some areas to get the really bright highlighted areas. Okay, I think we're done with the headband. Let's zoom out. There might be some areas that could be a little darker still. But again, the only person who's going to notice is you. Like, as an artist, sometimes we overthink things and we think that it needs to be exactly. But in reality, it doesn't need to be exactly, as long as if you're doing portraits of people, the proportions are the most important thing. Everything else, not so much. What you're probably not understanding of what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get it the same size of a square, although it's not really that much needed because I'm kind of just going across like a printer. I just want to make sure I'm getting every section the way I want it to be. Well, I think I might add some flyaways using the blending stump, the small one, to just kind of finish off that a bit. And then using the blending stump for some flyaway hairs is making it look like hairs that are not focused into the camera, which gives it a little bit more of a realistic touch. Hello. Man, there's quite a few people who popped in today. For being gone, it's been a pretty good live. Been gone for like a whole month. Okay, so I'm using the darkest pencil. You can, if you want to, slowly work your way into getting darker and darker. I am just going to jump right into it and get those really dark areas, trying to blend in those dark blobs that I put on when I was doing breakdown mode. And remember, you're going to do individual strokes when doing this. You're not zigzagging. Just individual strokes, picking it up every time. It doesn't matter which direction you go, whatever is easiest for you, but no zigzags, no scribbling it in. You don't have to worry about getting the strokes going from the very top to the very bottom of the head. In fact, that is not going to help with making it look realistic. Although you may think it does, it just doesn't. It doesn't work like that. I'm going to add a few little dark strands that are just kind of in the middle of nowhere in comparison to the other dark areas. Her hair is quite a bit darker than her daughter's hair in this picture. So we can just really build up the shadows and highlights. So we can work a little bit differently than what we were doing with the daughter's hair. Okay, now I'm not pushing as hard, but I'm getting still really dark gray areas and more focused on the shapes that are caused by the highlights and the shadows. But still just doing strokes. We're building up the texture as we're building up the shapes of the shadows and highlights. And if the hair is slightly curved, try to do your strokes slightly curved, because I'm going to show you a thing that we don't want to do. So we're doing lines like this that are straight, but then you want it curved and you do it again with straight lines. It doesn't look very good. I'm going to show you with the other camera if I can. So straight lines this way, and then you're like, oh, it's curved, and you try to do it this way, then you get like this really weird choppy section right there. You want to try to do curved lines, and that is something you need to practice. Okay, now let's take the blending stump and we're just gonna drag it in the direction of the hair, those lines that we've made earlier, blending it into the other hair or highlights and shadows. Soften it up. Like the first few layers are all gonna be like the hair that's on the bottom, like behind everything. So it can be very blurry. Make this very blurry. Okay, I'm going back in with my darker, like the darkest pencil I have, the softest, which is, mine is a 14B, but most people will have an 8B. And I just noticed I totally missed the side here, so I'm going to add that. And darkening those areas that need to be darkened. Sometimes just adding a layer, even not changing the pressure of the pencil, sometimes just going over it again just does the trick. I'm going to try to blend it into that first section we did in the last video so that it looks cohesive. So I'm just kind of putting some lines all the way through and then also like through what we already did, and then vice versa, doing some that are coming from that down to the other. And then taking that blending stump again and just blending it out. Just single strokes, picking up every time. We can add a few lighter hairs in there where the highlights are. I'm going to actually start looking at the reference directly for this, because we kind of already have a general idea where everything's at, and also hair can be considered an abstract thing. So as long as you know how to make realistic looking hair, you can go ahead and do your own thing. It doesn't have to be exact to the photograph. And then I'm going to blend just the ends of that. Just the very ends of those lines. Maybe just making them a bit darker. Okay, there are some, if you take a really good close look at your reference, you will see that there are some hairs that kind of overlap in a slightly different direction as other hair. So you can add those. I'm going to be using a electric eraser, and you got to do it nice and quick. Otherwise it's not going to be very smooth. Nice and quick. And then we can do the We can use the mechanical pencil. Actually, I'm just going to clean up some of this a bit. Mechanical pencil and just add some flyaway hairs that are on the edge of the hair. And you don't have to do it super dark either. And some of them don't even have, like, they don't have to be continuous line, because the light can make it look like it disappears and then reappears. You want to do some more realistic version of it, or make it even more realistic, do some blurry flyaways using the blending stump with what's already on there for drawing. Because not all the hair is going to be focused. It's going to be not focused on some things. Okay, let's work on the ear. I'm gonna take that dark pencil, kind of doing circular motions. I'm gonna sculpt the cheekbone and separate it from the ear here. And then we're going to do really dark shadows and then very slowly lighten it up a bit for the earlobe. So a little bit more pressure on the top and then soften it up at the bottom. And she's also got a little bit of a hoop earring, so we're going to try our best to preserve a little bit of white where that hoop earring is. If you accidentally draw over that hoop earring, there are some drawing tools you can still use to lighten it up. You can either use a mono eraser, electric eraser, or if it's a really bright highlight that you want to put in there, you can even use a white gel pen. Okay, so I'm going to take my knead eraser and I'm just going to stamp and lift up, just get a little bit more of a lighter section of that earlobe. And I think I am going to go over with a white gel pen. I just want to make sure it's working before I put it on. I should invest in a really good gel pen. This one is not that good. Let's see if this one works better. I scribble on my clipboards. That's how you know it's been used well. You can even use a little bit of acrylic paint if you'd like to do that. Okay, I'm going to use my 6B pencil, which would be probably a 4B for you, give or take. This one's not the darkest pencil I have. It's not the softest pencil I have. It's the one that's second to that. And I'm just going to slowly build up the shadows around her face, on her cheek and eyelids, brow bone. We're sculpting with a 2D image. we're sculpting on paper. That's what we're doing. And just circular motions and light pressure, just slowly trying to build that all up. We can worry about the details of the eyebrow and eyes later. We're just trying to build the structure of the face. And I also kind of want to do the eyebrows and the eye all at once. I might actually zoom into them a bit more because I like to focus most of my details, put most of my details in the eyes. So now we're going to take the toilet paper, and this is going to be a gradual blend into the rest of the face. So we're going to try to, when I'm blending around a highlight, I actually blend around it, do like giant circular motions around that. Then I'm going to add a little bit more highlight to that cheekbone. I'm going to use the knead eraser. I'm going to just stamp and pick up. Stamp it and pick it up. It will just pick up ever so slightly when you're doing this. Make sure after a while it will start to not get sticky anymore because it's got the graphite. So just play around with it. Just play around with it to get it nice and sticky again. I'm not going to worry about any freckles until the very end. We can add those once the entire drawing is practically finished. But I'm just worrying about the shapes, the basics, big shapes. So now I'm actually just going to zoom into the eye and the eyebrow because I want to get as much detail as possible. The eyes are definitely windows to the soul. If you don't get the eyes right, then the whole thing looks off. Especially with people that is especially with like doing commissions and famous people, if you're doing just like a generic person and nobody's going to recognize them, then it's not too much of a deal. But really focus on the eyes for recognizable people and people that you're doing commissions of for others. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. Oh, it's already 12 o'clock. Okay, let's just zoom out and see how it's looking. We're gonna zoom out. I'm gonna show you the camera view. So that's what it looks like in comparison. We still have a long ways to go. And then swing this out and see the top view. Just give me a minute. Okay, so if you want to try the app for free for a year, you can go into the description and get a promo code for the iOS. If you don't have an iOS, please email me at charitylowsartdve@outlook.com. I will give you your one-time use promo code. They will only let it be used once, so that's why you have to contact me. Please join the Facebook group. You can connect with other artists that use the app, and you can also join in some fun activities that I have going every so often, like art competitions and art challenges that you can win cash prizes for. Yeah, I think that's it. So also you can request different mediums, different subjects from me anytime, and I will do my best to do like first come, first serve stuff. I would also really love to do a segment where it shows people's artwork. Like on this video, have like in the break, like a little slideshow of everybody's artwork with their name and stuff on there. If you want that to be a thing, please send me some pictures. I want to do it so bad, but I need you to help me do it. I need you to show me some of your work. So, you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you had a wonderful holidays. And I really do hope that this year will be a good year. So, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.